Look, at the beginning, middle, and end of my life, whether I'm asleep or awake, whether I'm in the South or I'm in the North, whether I'm blindfolded or not, my greatest everything, right? Passion, skills, message on the heart, ad nauseum, my greatest gifts are activated when I'm gathering people.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Don't Do That podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Waltrich, and today with me, I have Chris Schembra, founder of 747. Now tell me, what is 747, Chris?
Kelly, thank you so much for having me on this podcast. First and foremost, I honor the great work you're doing for the world. Joe is a dear friend of mine, and when Joe said, you got to meet Kelly, off we go. I think that's the beauty of relationships that are built on trust. And so I'm so excited to be here, to share our story with your audience. So thank you for having me.
Of course, I'm excited to have you here.
Well, Kelly, to answer the question of what is 747, I have to tell a story.
Please do.
If you don't mind. And hello to all of you out there. My name's Chris. I live in beautiful New York City. It's nice to meet you all. The story of 747 actually goes back to July 15th, 2015, 10 years and 6 days ago. If you looked at my life back then, it probably didn't look too dissimilar from a lot of you listening to this podcast right now. Just like you, I was a marketing leader. I was a founder of a company. Life looked pretty good on paper. I had a roof above my head. The industry said nice things about me. Life was good. But one day I woke up and realized that just because a life looks good on paper doesn't mean it always feels good in the heart. And you listeners have probably felt that from time to time. That moment for me was in the middle of 2015. I just come back to New York City after producing a Broadway play in Rome, Italy. Right? Producing this Broadway play was somewhat of a childhood dream. And so I convinced myself that accomplishing a childhood dream and feeling that type of success would bring me ultimate fulfillment. Right? The play went great. We had a fun time. Nice people flew in for it. It had a positive impact. I got back to New York City and realized, oops, that wasn't it. Sometimes success doesn't oftentimes equal fulfillment. And you all know that. And so I'm sitting in my little, at the time, 350 square foot studio apartment on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. And I'm realizing to myself that I feel four things: a little bit lonely, a little bit anxious about the future, completely disconnected from my work, and insecure. And I don't know about y'all, but I have a lifelong history with non-suicidal self-injury, multiple stints in rehab, lifelong depression. And I knew if I didn't change the way I looked about my life quick, I was going to, go down a deep, dark path. And so in my little 350 square foot studio apartment, I asked myself, what was it about my time in Rome that changed my perspective on living? Was it how they walked down the street looking at art, architecture, and history? Was it how they watched the sunsets on Ponte Umberto looking at the Vatican? No, it's how they ate their food. Quite simple, with their friends, amongst community, to the wee hours of the morning. There was this one dinner that I hosted in Rome 3 nights before we put on the play. And I invited friends, and we ate, and we drank, and we dined, and we asked each other questions. And we felt what it truly means to be alive, to be human in this crazy world that we live in. And so I said, that's the moment that awoke me to this disconnect in life. I should bring more of that feeling back to New York City. So to answer your question of where does 747 come from, here I am, my 350 square foot studio apartment, and I think, how do I recreate the magic of Rome? I go to my kitchen. I go to my 2-burner stove in my kitchen,
Yes.
and I accidentally create a pasta sauce recipe. And folks, if you're only listening to this on audio, I'm literally holding up a jar of pasta sauce, simple red sauce. But I thought it was pretty good. It was a pretty good recipe. So I decided I should feed it to people to see if it's really good or not. So I decided to host a dinner party. July 15th, 2015. I invited 15 of my friends that don't know each other, complete strangers to each other, over to my home for a simple bowl of pasta sauce. 6:30 p.m. cocktails began. 8 p.m. I wanted dinner served. But at 7:47 p.m., we put the pasta in the pot, and I delegated 11 specific tasks to empower the attendees to work together to create the meal. We had a shared group experience. We served each other. We sat down for dinner. They loved the pasta sauce. We had good wine. And halfway through the dinner, Kelly, I paused the entire dinner table conversation, leaned in, and asked them a very simple question. If you could give credit or thanks to one person in your life that you don't give enough credit or thanks to, or that you've never thought to thank, who would that be? We went around the table, popcorn style, each taking a few minutes to share our stories to this gratitude question. And the stories were amazing. People had never thought to thank their parents, their grandparents, their dog, their ex-bad boss, whatever it may be. And I want you to think about your answer as you're listening to this right now. A few people cried. They loved the sauce. And I said, all right, I know what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And I haven't stopped since.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. The pasta I did not see coming. The pasta sauce I did not see coming. So do you sell this? Is it on shelves?
The pasta sauce has had many renditions. What started off as pasta sauce that I used to feed my friends and family, then became pasta sauce that we would bring out to our corporate, clients and to their gatherings. And then when COVID hit and it took the dinner table away from us, we actually bottled up thousands of jars of our sauce to send to people all over the world just to give them, a little bit of a meaningful moment of human connection. And then our distributor ruined a couple thousand jars of our sauce, and I haven't had the heart to click the reprint button.
Oh.
So now it's just for friends and family that come to our home for a simple dinner.
Aw, I love that. I kind of want you to ask me who I am thankful for.
Well, Kelly,
Yes.
if you could give credit or thanks to one person in your life that you don't give enough credit or thanks to, or that you've never thought to thank, who would that be?
Oh my gosh. You guys should all know too that before we started this, he said he would probably make me cry. So I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna try not to do that. So my person would be my husband. And I don't know that he listens to all of these podcasts. I think he listens to some of them. I hope he listens to this one. I feel like I have the true story of I would not be here if he wasn't so willing to be the stable one, to let me quit a job when I got pissed off, to let me decide I was gonna start a business, to let me have 2 toddlers with this business. Um, and he also, he has his job, but he works, in the middle of the night some nights to help me with my billing and my invoicing and all that kind of stuff. So I am truly appreciative, and I absolutely 100% do not say it enough. And I'm also an intense person, as anybody that's listening to this, my friends and industry peers know I'm pretty intense around my work. That does also flow through to life. So as you can imagine, intense people need a really solid, stable, even keeled counterpart. And I am very lucky to have all of that in him. So, anyway, I hope he hears that.
What's his name?
Thanks for asking. Steve.
Tell me about the moment when you knew that no matter what you were going to throw at the world that may not stick, that may be tough, that he truly had your tell me about that moment you knew he was there.
Oh man. Um, I okay, so most of you know that my first well-known career um moment was at eMoney Advisor. Large, fast growing, we were crushing it. Um, and Fidelity bought the business and a lot of things were changing. And I am someone who has a list of boundaries. I do. I talk about it a lot. I have a list of boundaries. They're in my phone. It grows and it evolves and it's changed over my career. And, you change as a person, whatever you want, different things. But I have a list of boundaries. And I just kind of told myself my whole life, like, these are it. Like, when they get crossed, I move on or I change or I evolve, but we don't stay in situations that we don't like. Like, I'm not someone who's going to do that. It's like you have a short life, right? You got to enjoy it, you got to love it. So I was just in a moment and things were changing fast and self-set boundaries were being crossed. And keep in mind, we're at a moment in time where e-money was the thing to chase. Like, we were killing it. We had a young, awesome team. We had taken the business from, I want to say, like 20 million to almost 100 million in under 4 years. Like, we had just had an amazing thing going. But as all acquisitions cause change, this one certainly did, and some things were changing that I didn't like or believe in, and boundaries were crossed. And I said to him, you know, so I have this list in my phone and it's telling me I should give up this very amazing job. Um, and I just like remember his reaction being like, "Yeah, I get it. Like you'll do better, even better in the next time around. So what are you going to do next?" And I just like, now I hope I haven't abused that over the years. Maybe I have a little bit, but I just remember thinking to myself like, "Man, that was easier than I thought." Like, I gave myself a pep talk. I was like, "How am I gonna tell him this? How am I gonna be like, hey, I'm gonna blow up our lives for here for a second?" Um, but he was, like, completely unfazed and was like, "Yeah, I'm sure whatever you do next, you'll do even better." And I'm like, "Oh, man, I don't even know if I believe that about myself, but if you do, let's go." So that was the moment for sure.
What do you think he believes in you the most?
What do you mean?
What is it about you that he believes in the most?
Oh my gosh. That I'm, like, relentless, I'm sure, about all things. I feel like if he figures he can't win a fight with me, then nobody can. I don't know. I don't know. Just that I won't give up, probably.
What drives that?
Oh my gosh, is this a therapy session? I didn't what drives that? I don't know. My sister and I were actually walking on the beach asking ourselves that. Like, we were trying to figure out, like, what did our parents do to us that we're very driven? And we don't know. We don't know. This is just like a mystery to us. I think it was that, watching my parents not struggle, but like, manual labor job, neither of them ever went to college. Like, I think that was just like a thing. Like, they were always like, we want better for you guys than we have for ourselves. And so we were just kind of like, okay, well, we're going to figure that out. So here we are. I'm supposed to be interviewing you. Chris, who's your person?
First of all,
You,
thank you. Thanks for going there. And by the
you
way, regardless of what drives or what caused or what created that drive, that relentless pursuit, I'm so excited to see how you've channeled that into your company and into this community for so many marketers and financial professionals around the world. And what a cool thing to know that someone's relentless belief in you,
yeah.
your husband's belief in you, is what gave you permission to unlock and unleash this technology, this community, this amazing group, to the world. So I'm excited to see that link.
Well, I appreciate that. And, as you were talking earlier and you said that it was just good on paper, I don't feel that. Like, I wake up every day excited. I wake up every day excited because I fucking love my team. I love my team. These are people that have been like Joe. We've been friends for 20 years. Like, I love the people around me. I love the challenge. I love getting knocked on my ass every day by my clients and laughing it off and figuring out how do we do better next time. Like, I love all of it. I love this industry. I love what it does for, the investors it serves. I don't feel that. I feel very, very lucky. Um, Now, is it challenging some days? For sure. But like, I generally do not have the moments where I'm like, this isn't it. I this would be this is my hobby too, you know?
It's a pretty good hobby.
Yeah, right? If you can turn your hobby into your job, I think that's pretty cool. I don't think everybody should search for that. That's really hard. Um, but yeah, if you're doing something that you would do when you didn't have to, I feel like that's a good sign, right?
How do you help wake that up in your clients' hearts and lives?
Yeah, there's it's interesting. We serve a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of startup fintechs, a lot of firms launching their RAs, a lot of firms who are, you know, figuring out how to hit their next phase of growth. And marketing and growth are really hard and sensitive. And I don't know, it's a tough unlock for a lot of firms. And so I have lots of conversations all day long where I feel like I'm um, trying to help people understand why they're trying to get to what they're trying to get to, more so than how they're trying to get to.
Ooh.
Yes. We had one this morning with a client who's, iterating on his business for the, third or fourth time over the last couple of years, really trying to get to the right value prop, really trying to get to the right mix of services, really trying to figure out like what's going to be meaningful for him. So I love that because once we can figure that out, then it's a math equation. Growth is then a math equation, right? Like, if you can figure out who you are and what you're trying to do and what you're going to bring to people, then the rest of it is like numbers, in my opinion. Um, so so I think we spend a lot of time. I think my team would tell you too that they spend a lot of time talking to our clients about the why more than the what.
It's interesting. The why, not the what or how.
Yeah,
The what or how can be figured out.
yeah. After that, like there's a playbook,
The why is your unique value proposition. The why is how you differentiate,
Yep,
yourselves from others. And in
exactly.
this crazy commoditized world where everybody's got the ability to share their how and their what, it's truly the why that's the differentiator.
It is, and
The
at
story.
this is a wild industry where that's like hard to pull out sometimes. You work in this industry, you've worked with lots of firms. Financial services firms generally, especially the bigger they get, it's hard to pull out how they're really different or how because things get so, I don't know, so dry and so compliance driven and so I'm just trying to be as good as the firm next to me. So I always tell people, I'm like, if you can come to us with a interesting story, like we can turn that into something. But if you're going to come with what everybody else is coming with, we're not going to make it up for you. We could, don't get me wrong, but we're not going to.
It's interesting, actually. Someone comes to you with not the best story to tell. The question is, how do you not make up the story for them, but how do you help them live enough to uncover the hidden insights in the story that they're sitting on?
Yeah.
It comes from throwing them out into the field and picking apart all these different journeys and adventures and being like, hey, those 5 things, that's the connect, that's the dot. Look at all that. I've just
Yes.
observed you doing these things. Boom, there's the
Yes.
link right there. It's pretty cool. It's very experiential.
Exactly. And so for any marketer that's listening, you've all been in the situation where like the product wasn't done yet and you had to market it anyway, or it didn't work as well as it should have and you had to market it anyway, or it wasn't competitive, but you had to market it anyway. And marketers are real good at making things sound and look amazing, but that only lasts for so long, right?
Yeah.
Like I have figured out over a long career that it gets you a little bit of the way and then it comes back to haunt you. So I feel like that's not the vibe I'm trying to create it intentionally. We're not gonna make it up. Like it
Well, I
has to
think
be has to be real.
the C word that you used earlier that sticks out to me so well is the word community. I think when people think of marketing, they think of content. They think of saying things to a crowd to attract them. I think community is that a little bit lower down in the funnel. People who, customers, prospects, investors, vendors, partners, whatever it is, that ecosystem that you're trying to rally, a team that you're trying to rally. Community is the bottom of the funnel of marketing. It's people that believe in you, that want to spend time with you, that advocate for you, that refer you, that buy more, promote more, and demonstrate more loyalty. And I believe that community is the newest form of authority leadership. Right? It's getting more expensive to advertise places. The return on ad spend is lower than ever before. Anybody can chunk out AI driven ads now. So like
Yeah.
content isn't necessarily putting out the best content is not
Right.
necessarily the best use case of like your skills as a marketer, but building community filled with connection,
Yep.
emotion, shared energy.
Spot on. Spot
It's
on. I just listened to a
fucking
podcast today.
it's right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I just listened to a podcast today with the CMO of HubSpot, and he was talking about the AI unlock and how, he believes that he himself is 10 times faster and more effective, and he gave all the areas in which that's true. And as he was doing that, I was tracking against it, and I totally thought to myself, what you just said could not be more true. In person events and community are going to be the winners
Well,
going forward because everybody is going to be given such a low cost ability to do these other things.
to me, life, number 19 on my rules for life is that life is one great big and, not an or. So what you just said, that big, that fancy fella from HubSpot was saying, AI is helping them go super fast. And, right, so the greatest marketers help ideas spread with passion and precision at lightning speed around the world to attract some kind of base. And the greatest marketers create moments of slowness to allow for the richness of human connection, community, of curiosity, to let good ideas catch up to a crowd, that kind of stuff. Right?
Mhm.
Remember, marketing is not about saying your idea to another person to prove them that you're right. It's about helping
Right,
another person come to the answer themselves so that then they come to you to say, I need what you do.
right.
You can't
Exactly.
force marketing at people. You got to let them come to it themselves. That's wisdom. And
Yep,
wisdom only comes through slow moments,
yep. You're right.
moments of surrender and pause and questions,
Jack
silence.
here, I feel like I interviewed a A friend of mine, Jack Sherry, if you listen to any of the Don't Do That podcast, it should be that one, Chris, because he very much talked about um, listening so hard that you burn calories, and
Ooh, yeah.
listening more than you talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really
I
good
mean,
good
look, I just said it on a call today. The greatest courage in life is not sharing a vulnerable story or having a brave answer. The greatest courage in life is to ask the question that needs to be asked, right? When you can, as a marketer, when you can ask the right questions uh, based on what's not being said, you uncover hidden insights and you can challenge assumptions. You get the greatest stuff out of the people that you serve. That's how you grow in your career.
Sure.
It's how you lead great companies.
True. All right, I have some questions for you. Um,
Why me?
your color-coded books in the background.
Yes.
What So I watch the home edit every now and then. So I have 2 toddlers. I don't get to watch that much TV. So when I do, it has to be something brainless. So I watch that home edit show where they do everything by rainbow. Did this inspire your book setup behind you?
No, just me being a psycho Virgo. What's
I
your
love
favorite
it.
color up there?
Ooh. So the intentionally blue I am drawn to, but I also like pink. The pink. Is it pink? Is it red?
Wait, which is the blue? Is it this shelf?
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. Isn't that funny? So I've asked that question to a great deal of fine individuals through the last 3 years. I've had that as my backdrop.
Yeah.
99%, I could say, maybe even over 100% of people choose this color blue as their favorite
Wow.
color up there.
Huh.
So if you're watching this, folks, right? If you're a founder looking to write a story about, or looking to write a book about your founding journey, if you're a marketer looking to write a book about your thought leadership on the future of pasta sauce, write it using this color,
Yes.
folks. I
Love
literally
it.
just talked to this with my friend Castley Killam 10 minutes ago prior to this podcast.
Well, isn't that funny that that's our brand color? Love it. Amazing.
It's a
Okay.
match made in heaven, Kelly.
It is, Chris. All right. So tell me, before we get into our don't do that, tell me a little bit more about the gratitude experience. I want everybody listening to understand what you do for firms.
Well, thank you for asking. Thank you for holding the space for such a sacred endeavor. Look, at the beginning, middle, and end of my life, whether I'm asleep or awake, whether I'm in the South or I'm in the North, whether I'm blindfolded or not, my greatest everything, right? Passion, skills, message on the heart, ad nauseum, ad nauseum. My greatest gifts are activated when I'm gathering people. Okay. I somehow have figured out whether it was at a young age growing up in Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, or it was in my, multiple stints in rehab or jail or early career in New York City in the world of theater or whatever. I've been blessed at a very young age to find something that I am exceptional at, bringing diverse groups of people that do or do not know each other into some kind of a group experience, whether it's 20 people or 1,000, and leave feeling the comfort of family. Like family with the drama and all.
Yeah, I bet.
Okay. That kind of
Yeah.
messy type of connection. Beautiful, yearning, savoring, silencing, questioning, filled with full bellies and carbs type of connection. Whether it's, it started around the dinner table with a bowl of pasta sauce, it morphed into a variety of different vehicles. And our experiences usually follow, regardless of what we're producing. Whether it's given 1,000-person keynote or it's facilitating a 20-person executive team, whatever. Every experience we produce follows a 3-act framework. First act is about getting people to come into the present to connect. Second act is about diving them into the past using gratitude. And the third act is about looking ahead to the future. Inspired, wiser, lighter, grateful, connected, happy, joy, etc., etc. And so what started off as a passion project every week, once a week for free in our home, right? When we started hosting those dinners, we did it every week in our home for free for a year. I'm talking about folding up the Murphy bed, borrowing chairs from my mentor, Papa Tony, because I was only making $800 a week and I couldn't afford chairs, taking tables off the streets in New York, doing those kind of dinners. Did 54 dinners in those first 52 weeks, feeding 808 people for free in our home. And then the phone started ringing. People, marketers, founders, CEOs from all over the planet calling us up. Hey, I see you're good at getting groups together to connect. Why don't you come do that for a group of our clients? Why don't you come do that for our teams? Why don't you go do it on a boat? Do it on a plane? Do it in a firehouse, whatever. And so these experiences, right? We just dedicate our entire life to it. There's just something magic seeing a room full of people get vulnerable and tell great stories and learn new skills and challenge each other and dream up better things for the future, whether that's at a 2-day offsite for a company or it's a freaking dinner party in my home for friends and family. And we are absolutely obsessed with it. You know, in life, a great company named Workday, great, leader in the HR space, found that to AI-proof your career, folks that are listening, right? To make yourself irreplaceable in the age of AI, to get ahead, career promotion and job growth, you need 3 buckets of skills: human relationships and networking, emotional intelligence and empathy, conflict resolution and negotiation. And our dinner table and our pasta sauce, our gatherings as a whole, is our way of teaching those 3 buckets all together at once.
I love that.
Yeah.
So intentionally, we have 30 people. We're spread across the country. What would that look like for a company like mine?
So everybody's remote?
I have a core group that's local, but we do have people all over the country.
Well, I'd say it's getting people together, virtual or in person.
We can do it
And
in person.
helping them come into the present to connect around why they're there. Diving back into the past, ask them some questions, tell them some stories, whatever, to get them back there. Talking about what's going right, what's not going right, whatever the thing is. And then help them look ahead to the future. What are we going to do tomorrow together, stronger? So whether it's a 60-minute keynote, 75-minute interactive keynote, a 90-minute experience, a 2.5 to 3 hour workshop, a half day offsite, full day, whatever. My question to you is, if you could wave your magic wand and have your people feel a certain type of way at the end of a multi-hour program, how would you want your people that got your back to feel?
My gosh. So many things. One, I want them to feel the realness around which I think about them all 24/7 and their well-being and their families and what this business is built to support, because I do. Um, and I want them to feel pride around the, like, phenomenal level of work that can sometimes feel daunting because we do demand a high caliber of work, but what it's bringing to people, and I want them to feel pride in that. Um, and I want them to feel like we can do anything. Like, we have such a smart, phenomenal, connected group of people that really our biggest problem is, what direction do we go? What direction do we go next? And I hope that they all feel that, but I don't know.
I love it. I mean, what you're saying is bring them into the present to help them realize they're not alone and they're fighting the good fight and they're with other people that believe in them and they believe in and they matter. Act 1. Act 2 is about diving back into the past, talking about what's working, celebrating what's been, shifting into that positive mental attitude, having pride in each other and in our work and where we've gone, right? Then Act 3 is about looking ahead to the future, unstoppable. What direction are we going? What now? So what? What if? What's unsaid? Asking all those kind of beautiful questions to uncover which way are we not looking at the future, which we should be together. Oh yeah, that's the
We're made
framework.
for this, right?
No, but that's the framework of which you can architect a year's journey, a 2-day journey,
Yeah.
a 3-hour journey, or a 90-minute journey, right? And so it's just depending on how many stories you tell, how many questions you ask, how much you facilitate, what you teach, all that kind of stuff is interchangeable. But you just shared a 3-act play.
Mhm.
Get them to come into the present and realize they matter and I see you and I'm grateful. Take them into the past to uncover the positive, shift from negative to positive, right? We all have a negative memory bias. All you marketers, founders, and CEOs that are listening to this, you likely have a negative memory bias, right? I mean, sorry, we all have a negative memory bias. We take in 9 bits of negative for every 1 bit of positive. It's what kept us alive when we were cavemen. It's just what is,
Yep.
right? But in order to get our best work done, we need to shift into the positive.
Yep.
Right? We have better ideas and we build better relationships and we survive better when we're optimistic about the future and we realize we're doing more good than bad.
Yeah.
And so helping people go more right rather than helping them fix what's wrong that's our formula.
I totally gravitate towards people um who look for the positives first, because I'm someone that, like, comes in every day with a smile and a new start, no matter what happened the day before. So I definitely gravitate towards that. And I feel like we're all trained to think work has to be crappy, and, like, you have to have drama and you have to talk about each other and you have to not like your clients. And I try to, like, tell my team all the time, what if we throw all that out the window? And what if this can be beautiful and can be fun and you can respect everyone around you and you can like your clients, maybe not all of them, that's okay. And you can have some balance, and, like, can we just start with the mindset that, like, we don't have to look at work as, like, this terrible thing, you know?
Yeah. Look, no matter what you're going through, first of all, I'm going to literally tell you a model and then give you an example. So I don't
Okay.
know if y'all can see this. Um, it's it's a curve, and I'll just say it for all the audio listeners. I'm holding a curve on a piece of paper in my hand. It's the story, and you all know this story. It's the story of a man or a woman who's walking down the street. Life's good, minding their own business. And all of a sudden, they fall into a hole. And oops, they learn some things. Oops, They meet some people. Oops, shit's tough. But you know what? They figure out how to climb out of that hole. And they keep climbing and they keep climbing. And pretty soon, where they are now is better than where they began.
Right.
Okay? So, folks, that is called the man in the hole. It's a concept that was come up, that was invented by a writer by the name of Kurt Vonnegut, a science fiction author back in the 50s and 60s. And he found that all stories have shapes. Every movie, book, play, film, or entrepreneur's journey, etc., has shapes. You got the boy meets girl shape. You got the rags to riches shape. You got all the Cinderella story shape. But he found that the most successful stories of all time are stories that follow the man in the hole arc. Number one movie on IMDb.com, number one rated movie, Shawshank Redemption, follows the man in the hole arc. I won't give away the plot, by the way. Go watch the movie. Phenomenal. So if you're watching this, you're an entrepreneur, you're a founder, you're a marketer, think, how do I not tell the story during the good times? How do I tell the story of what I learned in the hard times? That's the purpose of this podcast,
I was just
right?
gonna say you were teeing this up
So,
so beautifully.
yeah, but so when the protagonist can get a little vulnerable and can share a story of when they fell and how it felt and what they learned and how they got out and why they're better off for it, and they can give gratitude to that hard time, y'all, now you got a story that you can go to the bank with, that you can rally a community around. And the good news is, life can be filled with absolute shit, and you can still find those positive benefits in the whole. I mean, just in November, oh gosh, that was a long time ago. But one of our clients in November, they're a small little company. They do $94 billion a year annual revenue. They were down 54% net profit that quarter. Stock was tanking, agriculture space. That's all I'll say. And we went in to work with their senior executive team, 10 of them in Chicago, Illinois. And we didn't go in there to fix their processes, fix their systems, fix their market strategy, fix any of that stuff. I didn't sugarcoat it, but we helped them identify the positive benefits in the shit that they were going through. And as a result, we got to shift their mindset. And as a result, they returned back to their teams with a little bit of different way of looking at problem solving. Right? They return wiser, lighter, inspired, more creative, willing to connect in a cross-functional capacity with teams at their worst. All that kind of stuff.
Right.
Their stock is still tanking, but at least they have the right mindsets. And they actually have a good culture, and they still get thousands of applicants that want to join their company, even as their ship is falling for market a global change in consumer behavior that has nothing to do with the products that they put out to market.
Right. That's amazing. All right. Well, Chris, I feel like you teed up the premise of this podcast and we took the whole time before even getting to our don't do that. But I'm gonna ask you anyway. What are we telling people not to do today? What did you step in? What did you learn the hard way? What was your man in
Mhm.
the hole moment?
You know, I uh before I got into pasta sauce, I used to be in the world of theater, and I was a producer, and my business partner was the actor, director, writer. He was the star. And one of the things, he was 74 and I was 24. I was just a baby. I moved here with no job, no college degree, one suitcase, living on my buddy's couch in Brooklyn. And I met an old dude who took an interest in my development. I got hired for my first job in New York City because he got to watch the way I asked questions to a rock. But that's a story for another day.
We're gonna have to do that again, this again sometime.
So we're doing theater. We're having a fun time. And one of the productions that we used to put on was a one-man play about Fiorello LaGuardia, the former mayor of New York City, LaGuardia Airport, 3-term mayor, 7-term congressman, spoke 8 languages, had 7 secretaries. He was a firebug. He was a man of and for the people. Well, in the play, which takes place on his last day in office as mayor of New York City in 1945, he's nostalgically looking at a picture of his 2 kids, Eric and Jean. And he looks out at the audience and he says, "Kids, don't worry about people knowing you. Make yourself worth knowing." And what we were trying to teach the audience is that chasing accolade or chasing achievement for achievement's sake, or paying for a PR hit, or paying to hit a bestseller list, or paying for whatever will never get you as far nor be as fulfilling as just putting your head down through hard times and doing the work and getting the good job done and having a positive impact on the world while you do it. Yeah, maybe people won't pay attention to you in the beginning. And some of y'all are probably in that beginning journey right now. And I understand it must be pretty tough. And you're probably looking around saying, why isn't anybody looking at us? Just keep going. Just do your part each and every day. Surround yourself with good people like Kelly and her team and do the work. And pretty soon, one day, y'all are going to wake up and the whole world's going to be watching. And I cut those corners a couple times in my career, and it cost me a lot of money. And I think it set me back a few steps. And I could have used that time, energy, and effort, that scarcity mindset of needing to be known. I could have used all of those resources for good, to do the knowing. And yeah,
Chris,
thanks for
I really
asking.
appreciate you. This has
I
been
have
a
one
wonderful.
last question.
Oh, you do? All right, lay it on
I
me.
do. What would have made you cry earlier?
Ooh. I don't know. I only cry about movies. No, I don't know. I feel like the only thing that gets me emotional is talk about my kids. That's really the only thing that gets me emotional because I am very career oriented, and that creates trade-offs now and again, which I try to keep a good balance of, but you do have to have trade-offs, and the only thing I get emotional about is my kids.
Well, you talked about your husband earlier on the call. If there's one thing that you could say to your kids right now to lock it in time forever that they listened to when they grew up, what would that be?
Oh my gosh, I don't know that this is like life-shattering or eloquent, but I feel like find something that you love. I feel like we're here for such a short amount of time, and you have to find a way to work and make money and do the things. So it needs to be something that you're excited to wake up every day for. I think you've clearly figured that out. I've figured that out. And I think there are a lot of people that aren't that lucky.
Well, thank you for that. And thank you for helping so many of your listeners um, find that for themselves and rediscover their why and realize that in this new crazy world that we live in, all you got to do is step into your authentic story and communicate that around your business model, and you're going to do pretty great things for others.
Yes. And eat some pasta sauce while you're doing it. All right, Chris, it's been a pleasure. I imagine that we're going to do this again sometime. So thank you very much for your time today. It was wonderful getting to know you.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's show, subscribe to be notified when new episodes become available. And please consider giving us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. This podcast is sponsored by Intentionally, a financial services growth engine design consultancy and agency. If you want to learn more, please email me at kelly@growintentionally.com. Thank you again for listening, and check back to hear what we're not doing next.
The information covered and posted represents the views and opinions of the guest and does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of Kelly Waltrich. The content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only.